Recently the phrase "by this time you ought to be" caught my attention as I read the passage recorded in Hebrews 5 verses 12 to 14. For when for the time ye ought to be teachers, ye have need that one teach you again which be the first principles of the oracles of God, and are become such as have need of milk, and not of strong meat. For everyone that useth milk is unskillful in the word of righteousness, for he is a babe. But strong meat belongeth to them that are of full age, even those who by reason of use have their senses exercised to discern both good and evil. Let's notice 3 things from our text. By this time, you ought to be able to exemplify supernatural discipleship. Hebrews 5 verse 12 part A reads, "For though by this time you ought to be teachers." There is a need to teach by precept and by example. 1 Corinthians 3 verse 3 part B reads, "Are you not carnal and behaving like mere men?" 1 John 2 verse 6 says, "He who says he abides in him ought himself also to walk just as he walked." Vance Havner explains, "We are not to walk as men but as saints. We are all human" is the alibi of backsliders. We have been raised from a human to a heavenly level. If we say we abide in him, we ought to walk as he walked. Our walk should square with our talk. By this time, you ought to be able to execute scriptural discoveries. Hebrews 5 verse 12 part B through 14 part A reads, "You need someone to teach you again the first principles of the oracles of God, and you have come to need milk and not solid food. For everyone who partakes only of milk is unskilled in the word of righteousness, for he is a babe. But solid food belongs to those who are of full age." Warren Wiersbe confesses, "The joy of Bible study is not in learning something abstract. The joy of Bible study is seeing your life changed." F.W. Robertson observes, "The condition of spiritual wisdom and certainty in truth is obedience to the will of God." The Apostle Paul exhorts in 2 Timothy 2 verse 15, "Be diligent to present yourself approved to God, a worker who does not need to be ashamed, rightly dividing the word of truth." By this time, you ought to be able to exercise spiritual discernment. Hebrews 5 verse 14 part B reads, that is, those who by reason of use have their senses exercised to discern both good and evil. A.R. Fawcett explains this means able to distinguish between sound and unsound doctrine. There is a legitimate period of infancy, but those addressed in our passage are in a state of protracted infancy. They are easily misled by their emotions. We are warned in Hebrews 13 verse 9, "Do not be carried about with various and strange doctrines." Ray Stedman characterizes these undiscerning ones in the following way: they applaud what God condemns, they resent what God approves. Exercising spiritual discernment has a positive effect on your entire life as a Christian. If you find yourself in protracted infancy as a Christian, now is the time to repent and to return to the Lord. With His power you can exemplify supernatural discipleship, execute scriptural discoveries, and exercise spiritual discernment. Under the lordship of Jesus Christ, you can move from what ought to be to become what you ought to be. To learn more about the Christian life, visit our website at www.jonsquillministries.com. We encourage you to give us your feedback, share this video, and subscribe to our channel.